Dr. Sean Stephenson was predicted to not survive at birth because of a rare bone disorder that stunted his growth and caused his bones to be extremely fragile. Despite the odds, Sean persevered, and his drive took him all the way to the White House, where he worked as a young man. He went on to college and eventually earned his doctorate. The Biography Channel produced an hour-long feature on his life called The 3-Foot Giant. His journey has inspired millions of people around the world. Count among his fans Sir Richard Branson, President Bill Clinton, and His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Sean has appeared on everything from Oprah to Jimmy Kimmel, in addition to online videos with tens of millions of views. Over the past 22 years, Sean's powerful message has been heard at live events in nearly all 50 states and in 15 countries around the world. His latest book, Get Off Your Butt, has been translated into 10 different languages. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sean Stephenson.
Hello. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love all of you. Oh my goodness, you are the future. You are the future. Listen closely. Your elders, people older than you, they're gonna talk a lot of garbage about you. They're gonna say things like, oh, millennials, they're always on their phones. You know what they're doing? They're learning about the world. You are the greatest generation. You know why? Because you have access to the world in split seconds. You're not in an oblivious cloud wondering, what should I do? Is there anything out there? No, you are inundated with ideas. You are overwhelmed with opportunity. And I want to help you get very, very clear on what the world needs from you. Who wants to have a good time tonight? You're going to face so much doubt. You're going to have people tell you you're not good enough. They're going to look you in the eyes and they're going to say, you can't have that. They're going to tell you that's not in the cards for you. You're going to have so many people facing you as doubters and haters, but you cannot worry about that. Because look, I've been facing my doubters and haters. Well, when I was born, my parents were told that I would be dead within the first 24 hours of my life. I'm happy to report that 38 years later, all those doctors are dead. That goes over everywhere except for hospitals. The doctors are like, should I clap? I don't know. Am I going to die? How do I handle that joke? So listen, you are going to face fears. You're going to face all kinds of excuses, and insecurities are going to be thrown at you. But you have to be very clear that all those people that you're going to face out in the world that are going to tell you it's not possible, they don't matter. They don't matter. And it's not that they don't matter as human beings, it's that their opinions don't matter to you because they are not empowering. I want you to commit this to memory. Tweet this if you want it. You ready? Never believe a prediction that doesn't empower you. Never believe a prediction that doesn't empower you. If something doesn't get inside of you and excite you and make you feel like you are more and bigger and you can do great things with your life, if somebody says something that doesn't excite you to do big things, then you have to let it go. Because people have told me over and over, Sean, You'll never go to college. Sean, you'll never find love. Sean, you'll never be able to build that business. I'm happy to tell you I have a very successful business where I travel the world. I am happily married, and I am a doctor of education. You need to get a rush when people tell you that something's not possible. Don't get mad. Don't be like, oh, they didn't tell me. Shut up! No, you can't get mad. You're wasting your energy. You have to get excited. You have to be like, oh, you don't think I can do that? Huh. Watch me. Yeah. I'm gonna get this life. But you're gonna face so many times where the external world's gonna try to tear you down, but that's not your biggest enemy. That is not gonna be your biggest challenge. Your biggest challenge in life is the individual staring back at you in the mirror. Every time you get ready for bed and you're looking in the mirror and you start to point out all the things you don't like about how you look. You start pointing out like, I can't believe I haven't done this, or why don't I have that? And you start tearing yourself apart. You need to break that cycle. No one's coming to save you. No one's gonna swoop into your life and say, oh, hey, I got you. I will make sure all your dreams come true. No one's coming, except for the person in the mirror. You need to get so excited about becoming your own best friend. And I know that's gonna sound weird. And I know that's gonna feel different, especially to the parents in the audience. You need to become your own best friend. If you don't have your own back, why should I? If you don't have your own back, why should I believe in what you say is important? I need to look into your eyes and feel that you are believing what you're saying you can do. I just returned back. I was in Kenya, Africa, and I was in a slum called Kibera, where it's 1 square mile. It's the most impoverished part of Africa. And I go into this school system where they don't have windows. They barely have walls. They don't have floors. It's just all dirt. And I had to be carried in my wheelchair everywhere I went. And I looked these kids in the eyes. They have 1 meal a day that they get fed at school. And that's the only meal they get all day until they come back to school the next day. And I caught this one little girl stuffing food in her pocket. I thought, that's weird. If you hadn't eaten much, why are you putting it away? So I asked her, what are you doing? She looked up very sheepish and she said, I'm saving this for my little brother. He's back home. Just imagine, like, what do we complain about? Oh, the Wi-Fi's down. Shut up! Like, seriously, we are ridiculous. I'm like, oh, my Escalade door is creaking. No, we have it so good here. We are in a climate-controlled building. We have these giant electronic screens. We are just creating such possibility in this room. We all need to feel so full of life. We need to be so excited. Of course you have problems. Of course you have challenges. I'm not going to come here today and say like, oh, because I'm in a wheelchair and I've had challenges, I know what your challenges are like. I don't have a clue what you're going through. I don't. I'm not going to come in here and claim that I know what you're going through. I don't live in your body. I didn't grow up with your parents. I didn't have your past set of experiences. I haven't been hurt the way you were hurt. So I'm not going to come in here today and tell you, I know what you're going through. I don't have a clue. You know, I'm only good at one thing. I have a lot of credentials in my video, but at the end of the day, I'm only an expert on one thing. And that's how to be me. And I do it well. And that's what you got to be an expert on. I don't care what field of medicine or education or technology or whatever you want to do on this planet. You got to be an expert on one thing, and that's how to be you. You got to be able to look in that mirror and be proud of who you are. It could take you years. It could take you years of conditioning yourself to know that you were attractive, to know that you were smart, to know that you were important. I had so many times when I was your age where I hated life. I thought, this sucks. I don't understand. Why do I have to be 3 feet tall? Why can't I play sports? Why can't I just drive a normal car? And I would be so angry, and that bitterness would just consume me. But things happened, things that I want to share with you tonight that turned it around. And I want to help you turn that around if you are stuck in your pity party. If you're feeling like, oh, I'm put behind, I don't have this, or I have this challenge, or why me? Look, you're a human being. I know you're going through that. We all act like on the outside that we have it perfectly together. We put on that, the normal face, like, I got this. But meanwhile, we're like, I don't have this. I'm really scared. You're a human being. I want to give you permission to be a human being. Even amongst your peers here, you all want to impress each other and talk about where you're going next with your life and what you want to do. That's wonderful, but let's get real. Let's connect over our human experience. And the way to connect as humans is to share emotion. I'm going to prove to you something right now. Raise your hand if you've ever been happy. You don't have to be happy right now. Put your hands down. Raise your hand if you've ever been sad. Okay, put your hands down. Raise your hand if you think you're sexy. I have some bad news for some of you. The bad news is I caught you looking around for approval. Like, hey, am I sexy? What do we all share in common? We all have emotion. Every human being, it doesn't matter if I'm traveling to Kenya, Africa. It doesn't matter if I'm in Boston, Chicago, LA, Paris. It doesn't matter where I am. If I see a human being, I know they have emotion. And if they have emotion, I know I can connect to them. Because at the end of the day, you know what human beings want more than anything? More than money, more than being good looking, more than living long time. What do they want? They want to feel good. That's all we want. We just want to feel good. Now listen up. The choices that you make to feel good will determine your whole entire life. The choices you make to feel good will determine the course of your life. Some reach for drugs, some reach for food, some reach for sex, some reach for books, some reach for their gym membership. Some people reach for making a difference on the planet. Everything we can choose to feel good determines the course of our life. And so a human being is a human being. Just know that their actions are based at the end of everything they've done is because they just wanted to feel good. You know, you might hit a dark period in your life. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe you've come out of it, where you wonder if it's going to get any better. Raise your hand if you've ever had a dark moment, where you question if you should even be alive. Yeah, that's a human experience. But yet we feel all alone we're in that darkness. And so I want to teach you some things tonight to help you get through those dark times. Because I have to be honest with you. There will be more. There will be more. People try to spend their whole life running away from dark moments, running away from pain, trying to make their life perfect. It's not possible, especially if you want to play a big game. Did Martin Luther King have dark moments? They took him down in that dark moment. But did that mean he shouldn't have proceeded? No. You are going to have dark moments, especially if you're going to play a big game in your life. If you want to change the world, if you want to make a massive impact, you're going to scare a lot of people. People are going to say, oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So you need to start preparing yourself emotionally now to handle those dark days and to remind yourself that you have the mental fortitude, that you have the emotional capacity to handle what is ever thrown in your path, because you know you have a greater purpose for your life. You know, at a very young age, I knew what I wanted to be. I was 12 years old. I want to invite you back into the moment where I knew what I wanted to be. I was 12 years old and I was in my living room. And I'm watching a television. And a song comes on the television. It goes something like this. Ba-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Anybody know what that is? Hail to the Chief. And when do they play Hail to the Chief? When the President of the United States comes out. Now, I'm 12 years old. I'm in my living room, and I'm watching this television, and I see this man come out on stage, and everybody just goes nuts. They're clapping and screaming, and I'm watching this, and I'm going, I gotta have that job. So I went into school the next day, and I told all my teachers, I am gonna be the President of the United States of America. Now, do you think they said, yes, you are? Did they say that, yes or no? No. What happens when we tell people our lofty goals? They go, oh, sweetie. Sweetie, pump the brakes a little. But I didn't care. I didn't listen to my haters. I still don't listen to my doubters. I just told everybody, I'm going to become president of the United States. Now, what I didn't know at the time, I was 12. I didn't realize you have to be 35 to be the president. I had some time, right? I learned that there's a lot you got to do to become president of the United States. First of all, you got to understand human relations. You got to understand economics. You got to know how to pay people off. There's a lot you got to know to be president of the United States. So I didn't care. I'm 12 years old. I'm holding on to that vision. I had that vision in my mind of being president of the United States of America. And I was telling everybody. Have you ever told a lot of people some of your goals, and then like time started to pass, and you didn't make any achievement toward the goals, and people are like, yeah, right, yeah, you're really gonna do that. And you start to maybe doubt yourself a little bit? Well, as the years went by, I started to doubt myself, and I thought, Sean, if you want this to happen, if you want to be the President of the United States, maybe you need to go work at the White House, go check out the decorating, see if you even like the place. So I remember the day I applied to work at the White House. I'm in college at this time. I'm a college sophomore. I applied to work at the White House. I remember the day the envelope came in the mail to let me know whether I had been selected to work in the White House. And when you get a letter from the president, it just comes in a simple white envelope with little blue letters in the corner that says the White House. And I hold that envelope up to my nose, as if my nose was going to tell me the truth or something. I was like, oh yeah. I opened it up. It said, congratulations, Sean Stephenson. You've been selected to work in the White House alongside of the President of the United States. You'll be reporting for duty in 3 months. We look forward to seeing you. Oh my goodness, I was ecstatic. Now remember, at the time, I was a single man. I was a sophomore in college. What do you think I did with that letter? I went up to all the ladies and I was like, hey, what are you doing this summer? Are you doing this? Bam! Showed them the letter. Strutting around with that letter on, you know? And it was so amazing. And I remember the first day on the job at the White House. It was so amazing because here I am, and I was starting to step into the vision of that 12-year-old boy wanting to be the President of the United States. And I remember walking up and down the halls of the White House. And it was amazing. I just kept looking at all the art and thinking about the leaders that had walked those halls. and the civil rights movements that have been passed, and the legislature that had been signed. And I was thinking about all these incredible things that happened in those halls. I was going to move one table, but I thought it's not my place yet. I shouldn't do that. And there was something I loved about working at the White House. And that was when the president would come home from work and he would be traveling overseas internationally, he would land Air Force One at Andrews Air Force Base. And then to get from the Air Force Base to the White House, he wouldn't just show up in a SUV or a minivan like you and I would. He would show up in a helicopter. It was a helicopter the size of a school bus. It was dark green, with a bright white stripe at the top, and a big American flag painted on the side. And you could hear the propellers coming from miles. And I had an idea. I was like, you know what, Sean? You should be outside when the president lands and comes home from work today. I mean, you're outside, little guy in a wheelchair, a helicopter landing. What could go wrong? Don't get ahead of me. So there I am. The day finally came. I had the schedule of the president. I had my schedule. I needed official business to be outside there, or at least something that looked official, right? So I had an envelope under my armpit, and I put on my busy face. Do you know what your busy face looks like? It's a mixture of you're gonna have constipation and diarrhea at the same... And when you put on the busy face, no one wants to talk to you, right? Because they don't want to get busy from you. They're like, okay, goodbye, right? So I put on my busy face, and I hear off in the distance, the helicopter. And I am excited, right? That 12-year-old boy inside of me is excited. This college sophomore is excited. And I see off in the distance, the helicopter is about 20 feet off the ground, hovering above the south lawn. So now I'm rolling to the south lawn entrance, and no one is around, and the doors are closed, and there weren't those handicap accessible buttons. You guys know what those handicap accessible buttons are? Yeah, it's the ones when you're carrying lots of pizza, you're like, oh, how convenient, and you hit it with your butt. Not for you. Anyway. Oh, and if I could for a moment, you know the larger stall in the bathroom? That's not your dressing room. Okay, sorry. I know who you are. I saw you in the bathroom. Okay, so there I am. South lawn. The doors are closed. And that 12-year-old boy is still inside of me. He's so excited. And he's having the conversation with the sophomore in college, man. He's like, come on, you're in college. You're educated. You can get through these doors. So then I thought about something. I'm like, okay, all right. What did we learn in science? Something called momentum, right? Something called physics, right? So I'm like, all right, if I get enough running room, I can get up to 88 miles per hour, and I can smash through these doors. So then I started like pumping myself up like I'm a running back, and these are linebackers. I'm like, you got nothing, son. You got nothing. And I took off, right? I am, bam! I am huffing. I am puffing. I get outside. And I didn't expect what happened next. A giant wall of wind slapped me in the face and threw me back in the White House. And I'm like, oh no! And I am huffing, and I am puffing, and I get outside now. And I start getting a little cocky. Ever been a little cocky where you thought you had it all together, right? Not you, but somebody you know, right? So I'm out there and I'm like, all these suckers inside, they're gonna watch this amazing moment. And as I'm sitting there feeling like I'm amazing, you know, like what, right? I see off in the corner a tree moving. And it's not moving in any other directions of the other trees. So I investigate a little closer. And I see 12 men in all black military fatigue. They're climbing down ropes and they're running at me with submachine guns. And I look down at my chest, and I see little red laser dots. Well, I'm glad you think that's funny. These men are, they are the emergency response team. If you get past the Secret Service, they have shoot-to-kill orders. And I am thinking, they don't know I know the president. And they don't know I can't run. I gotta do something, right? Because if you're a little perceptually slow, like, we're not going much, right? It's not very fast here, right? But I'm screaming, I'm in my head like, gotta get to the chopper, right? And I am racing to the helicopter, and the helicopter is landing. The door swings open. The President of the United States steps out, and he looks at me. And time stood still. And that's when I realized you better have a vision for your life. You better have a very clear vision. What do you want for your life? I don't care what age you are in this room. What do you want with your life? How do you want your health to be? How do you want your finances to be? What kind of relationships do you want? How do you want your love to show up? What kind of career do you want? What kind of impact do you want to make? Stop acting like you have all the time in the world. Time is moving quickly for all of us. And only those that have a vision are heading in the right direction. Those that don't have vision, we're wandering, we're lost, we're wasting time. And in that moment, I realized you're going to have so many doors closed in your face. You're going to have so many people tell you you can't be on the other side. Not by the parents you were raised by, not by the things that happened to you when you were young, not kind of the color of your skin or your sexual orientation. You're going to be told so many different things. Doors are going to be closed, and you're going to question, is this in the cards for me? It can be, if you claim it. But you have to have that vision for your life. The reason why I said that this room is the future is because I look into your eyes and I see incredible advancements coming in medicine. I see incredible advancements coming in humanity in this room. There are individuals in this room that are going to heal the planet. So you got to be very clear, because here's what happens as you get older. For many of us, this is what happens. Is you try things and it doesn't happen the way you want right away. And so then you think, oh, it's not in the cards for me, because it didn't happen instantly, because I didn't become a .com billionaire overnight here, because I didn't create the new social media craze, and therefore I'm never going to make it. You can question yourself and then want to quit. But it's not about achieving. Look, it's not about achieving things in your life that matters. I have lots of achievements. Who cares? Achievements don't matter. You know what matters? Is progress. Because achievement is yesterday, last week, last year, 10 years ago, 100 years ago. We can all pile up achievements in our resumes. So what? It's progress. It's what are you creating? What is lighting you up? What are you doing to connect to others? And as I've built my life, I have been focused on progress. What can I do today to get lit up and have fun? But it's not always going to be fun. Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes you're going to go through those dark moments. You know, I love my life. I have a wonderful home. I have an incredible wife. I have a beautiful family. I am happy to be alive. But it wasn't always this great. You know, as you heard in the introduction video, I was born with a rare bone disorder called osteogenesis imperfecta. My bones were extremely fragile growing up. Something as simple as sneezing would fracture a bone. By the time I was your age, I had already fractured over 200 times. And with that, you can imagine all the pain that I had to go through, and then all that experience of having to know that I have to start back over in the healing process. I want to invite you to a moment in my life where I decided that I wasn't going to feel sorry for myself anymore, that I wasn't going to get into the pity party anymore. It was Halloween, and I was in 4th grade. What did you guys love about Halloween when you were in 4th grade? Just yell it out. Diabetes, okay, great. Right? Candy, the costumes, the parties, right? You know what? I loved Halloween because for one day out of the year, I could blend in. Everybody else got dressed up, and I could blend in, and nobody was looking at the 3-foot-tall kid. And I loved Halloween because of that. I want to invite you into my living room. Halloween morning, I'm in my costume, 4th grade. And I'm out of my wheelchair on the floor. And when I'm on the floor out of this wheelchair, I look like an adorable roly-poly bug. No, it's true. I do. It's adorable. Anyway, I'm on the ground, and I'm in my costume, and I'm rolling around, and I am so excited. I'm thinking, I can't wait to show this off to my friends. And I was thinking about the party and the candy, and as I was rolling around, I caught the left leg of my left leg on the corner of the door, and I bent it back, and I snapped it at the femur. And if you've ever broken a bone, you know there's a bit of a time delay between hearing the sound of the snap and feeling the pain. And even though it's a split second, it feels like an eternity because you know what's coming. So I'm on the floor, and my mom's in the kitchen making lunch, and I snapped my leg. And whenever I would break a bone as a kid, my temperature would rise, and sweat would begin to pour down my face and burn into my eyes, and my breathing would become irregular. I'm laying there, and it felt like somebody had stabbed me in the leg and began twisting the knife. And I screamed something out loud, something we've all thought, we've all said. I said, "Why me? What did I ever do to deserve this?" And my mom comes running in the room. You see, my parents couldn't race me to the hospital. There's nothing the doctors could do for me. So they just had to keep me immobilized for 4 to 6 weeks while I healed. So she would kneel down. She held me close, and she said, "Shh, Sean, sweetie, we have to relax." And we would play this little game to try to take my mind away from the pain. She would say, "Tell me, what was your favorite part about our last vacation?" Except I was furious. Have you ever gone through something that wasn't fair? Raise your hand if you ever gone through something that wasn't fair. Welcome to the human race. And I didn't think it was fair. Like, what did I do to deserve this? I was the good kid. I was the one that studied. I was nice to people. I was kind. I cared about others. Why did I have to go through this excruciating pain? And she could see that in my eyes. She knew I was done playing games. So she leaned back, and she formulated a question that changed the course of my life. It's why I'm here tonight, for you. She leaned forward, she looked deep into my eyes, and she said, "Sweetie, Is this going to be a gift or a burden in your life? I'm thinking, is she crazy? A gift? Gifts come on our birthdays. We open them up and we're like, woohoo! How could this be a gift? But before I could say anything, something cosmic happened. Something I can't explain to the science in your brain, but it's something I experienced. It was like this warm wind of wisdom just swirled into the room and swirled around my body. And then I had clarity on my life. In 4th grade, I realized that we all have pain, that we all fracture. We all have life fractures, fractures in our marriage, fractures in our educations, fractures in our love, with our friends, fractures with our bodies. We all fracture, don't we? And maybe the purpose to my pain, maybe why I had to be in this container, is to teach people how to love their life amidst the pain. Maybe the reason why I had to go through this was for you. That I could share something in your life, in a certain time and period in your life, for you to go, whoa, I guess we do all have pain. Because I also loved my life back then. I love it now. And that's the difference, is I realize that we all have pain, but we have to figure out how to move forward. My mom said this amazing quote next. She said, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. How much time are we wasting suffering, feeling sorry for ourselves? It can't get any better when we are feeling bad for ourselves. Look, you're going to have lots of people come to you and say, don't do this drug, don't do that drug, this drug's going to do this to your body. You know what the worst drug on the planet is? Self-pity. When you feel sorry for yourself, yeah, I'll take that. When you feel sorry for yourself, you are paralyzed. You can't make a difference on this planet. The children that I was working with in Kenya, Africa, they can't get food and water. If I'm here in America, like, oh, it's not fair, they didn't like my idea, I'm gonna quit. No! There are people out there that have way worse challenges than us that need us to rise up and stop feeling sorry for ourselves and make a massive difference. And you need to rise up. Your parents want you, whether they say it to you or not, they want you to exceed them. They want you to make more money. They want you to be happier. They want you to be healthier. They want you to have better relationships. Do not feel that you cannot surpass your parents. You have to. That is why they made you, to learn from you, to see what's possible. And it's scary. It's scary to surpass your parents, but that's why you were made. And if you have kids, they're going to surpass you. And that's the way it should be, because that's called evolution. That's called moving forward. That's called progress. Let's not be afraid of progress. You're going to need some secret weapons to progress and to deal with those fears and those insecurities and those excuses that are going to come up in your life. And I'm going to share with you right now my greatest secret weapon for dealing with fears, excuses, and insecurities. You guys ready? Oh my God, there's like thousands of people here. Are you guys ready? All right, so I'm gonna need that song, and what we're gonna do, okay, first of all, I'm happily married, but I have a crush on Taylor Swift. I just have to say it. Taylor, call me. Okay, here we go. So, what I do when I'm getting insecure, and by the way, don't let anybody fool you, we are all insecure. We all have moments where like, oh my God, that's Zit. Why did that Zit have to show up today, right? We all have insecurities. We all question ourselves. Don't try to think that you need to be perfect. You're gonna have tough moments. So here's what I do. When I'm feeling insecure, when I'm dealing with excuses coming up, I have what's called a dance party, okay? So everybody seated, stand up, throw on the song, and just, you guys are gonna have a dance party right now, okay? So all right, do what I do. Let's start clapping. Everybody, move your body. Move. You guys are young. Move around. Come on, get riled. All right. Okay. All right. How do you feel? You guys can sit down if you'd like. I got some more good stuff here. So why did I have you move? Why did I have you do a dance party? Because motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. And if you want to have a change in emotion, you have to have a change in motion. You can't, look, this is how this works. People will come to me and they will say, Sean, I'm really depressed. I'm really depressed and I'm scared of my own shadow, and I don't think anybody loves me, and I'm not going to do anything great with my life, and I suck, and I don't know why I don't feel good. I'm like, you don't feel good because the thing you're doing there. You got your body all scrunched up, you brought your voice down, you played small. You can't play small. Even if you are small, you can't play small. You have to play big. Back in the day, I used to go to the dance clubs, okay? And I would go to the dance clubs, and I would have like concentric circles of women around me dancing, and I'd be like, yeah, what? And I had all this fun. And one of my friends gets jealous. And he comes up to me and he's like, Sean, I figured you out, mister. I'm like, oh, you figured me out? What? What'd you figure out? He's like, I know why all the ladies like to dance with you. I'm like, oh, why do all the ladies like to dance with me? He's like, they feel sorry for you. Ooh. That's some fighting words right there. But I am a mature man, right? So I was like, oh, that's why they do that, huh? And he's like, yeah, they feel sorry for you, and, you know, they were raised to feel sorry for the guy in the wheelchair, so when they see a little man in the wheelchair on the dance floor, they think, oh, how cute it would be to dance with them. I'm like, oh, okay, let me get this straight. You're saying, like, women are taught when they're young, little girls, that when you see a little man on a dance floor at a club, and you need to go up and dance with them. And he's like, yeah, I think that's what happened. I'm like, okay. All right, so tonight, I'm going to do a little science experiment with you. He's like, okay. I said, I'm going to go back out on the dance floor. And I'm not going to act like Sean Stephenson. I'm going to act like a 3-foot-tall man in a wheelchair. And let's see what happens. He said, okay. And then I started wheeling out to the dance floor, and I was like, shit, how does a 3-foot-tall man in a wheelchair act? And I'm wheeling over there on this dance floor, and I'm thinking, okay, if you bring in the energy of a 3-foot-tall guy in a wheelchair, you're probably really scared, and you gotta not make much eye contact, and then I'm on the dance floor, and I'm bringing my energy in, and the girls are walking right by me, and I'm like, hey, no, call me. You me? What? No? Okay. And the women are now walking by me like furniture. And my buddy comes running up to me, and he goes, Sean, I get it. I go, what do you mean you get it? He goes, it's not the wheelchair. It's not your size. It's your attitude. You bring the party. I was wrong. And then he's like, can you please bring the girls back? And I challenge you to think about your attitude. Like, how do you show up in life? Because the people around you, if you're always like, oh, no one wants to be my friend, nobody likes me, nobody thinks I'm attractive, nobody thinks I'm fun, nobody wants to partner with me in business, that's you. Don't you get it? You're emanating blah. Blah. Stay away from me, I'm boring. Don't do that. You need to bring the party because we teach people how to treat us. When I come onto stage and people see my confidence and they think, oh, Sean, how did you develop that? They'll say, Sean, how did you develop that? How did you get so confident? And some people, they're delusional. They think I came out of my mom's womb like, hey, Sean Stephenson, hey. No! Not at all. I had to develop this sexiness. I'm going to teach you some bullet points here. I'm going to teach you how to develop your confidence now. If you want to develop your confidence, you need to apply the rules that I have learned and the skills that I've learned from my mentors. The greatest of which is, if you want more confidence, you need to take more acts of courage. When I was asked to go to Kenya, Africa, and speak in the schools by my wife, Mindy, she was running this trip with students, and she said, you want to come with me? And I had a million fears pop up, like, what vaccines am I going to need? What medications am I going to, how safe is it? Are Americans safe over there? Blah, 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 blah. I had all these fears coming up about traveling into a developing country. And I had all this anxiety until the moment I got there and I started interacting. And I had this moment when I realized, why was I so scared? And I came back with tremendous confidence because I took the act of courage. If you want more confidence, you need to take more acts of courage. If you're attracted to somebody and you're like, oh, I better not say hello to them. What if they think I'm a dork? You're going to get the confidence no matter how they treat you. You walk up to them, you are nice to them. No matter what they say, the act of courage is going to make you more confident. It's how it works. Somebody asked me one time, they're like, Sean, back in your single days, what was your greatest pickup line? And it was very simple. Hi, I'm Sean Stephenson. That was it. Because nothing is more sexy, nothing is more empowering than not being afraid to take courageous acts. But you're going to have moments where you get stressed out. You're going to take these courageous acts and you're going to be freaking out. If you're going to start your own business or you're going to take on a major part of humanity, solving the world's problems, you're going to have moments where you're going to go, what did I get myself into? You enroll into a university and you're like, how did I get myself here? We've all had those moments where we go, how did I get here? I don't know if I have what it takes. That's when you need to apply the next lesson that I'm going to teach you. And that's how to deal with stress. Raise your hand if you deal with stress. You know, I know it because I can see it in your faces. Some of you guys are stress balls. You're like, I must be perfect. Chill. Can I just tell you something that would upset a lot of teachers in this room? Can I just be... Okay. I'm going to tell you something now about school. If you go on to college or you go on to any other thing in life, you know what matters way more than grades? What matters way more than grades is, are you applying what you're learning? Are you doing something with your education? Are you making a difference with what you know? Because I will take a student out of school who can apply things that they learn immediately and max out their energy to create great things that may not have gotten the best grades over top of the incredible student who doesn't apply what they learn. You must get excited about applying what you learn. But here's the thing about dealing with stress. There's this thing that I've dealt with throughout my whole life, and that is I'm always asking myself one question. And the question is, what's funny about this? Repeat after me, what's funny about this? What's funny about this? This is going to help you tremendously, especially you parents, as you continue on heading to death wherever you go. Okay, I'm kidding, that was a joke, all right? All right, so anyway, wherever we're going, we have to be asking ourselves, what's funny about this? When I was in college, I didn't just work at the White House, I also worked on Capitol Hill for Congress. If you want to laugh a lot, go work for Congress, okay? So one day, I go into work early, and I have my hot tea and my newspaper, and I got to work about 45 minutes early. And I thought I was the only one in the office. And I got to my desk, I put my hot tea and my newspaper down, and I heard my congressman. He had already beat me to work. He said, Sean, get in here. Yes, Mr. Congressman? He said, Sean, I need you to run an errand. Run a message to the other side of the Capitol, to a place you've never been to before. No one else is here. You need to do this. Yes, sir. So I took that message, my hot tea, my newspaper, and I headed to the side of the Capitol that I had never been to. And when I got to the elevator, because I had to go upstairs, I realized that I couldn't reach the button. My arms were not long enough. So what I do is I adapt. So I travel with an elevator stick. Also known as a back scratcher, okay? I press the button, the doors open, I roll inside. And now that I'm inside, the doors close behind me, and I start looking on the bank of buttons. I start looking for my floor, and I press my floor. Except nothing happened. I'm thinking, that's weird, so I pressed it again. Nothing happened. And then it dawned on me. I was just in an elevator where on the outside the buttons were pressure sensitive. That's why the elevator stick worked. But on the inside, the buttons were heat sensitive. And my elevator stick wasn't hot enough. So I thought, what would MacGyver do? Right? If I had a pack of chewing gum and a tampon, I could make a bomb, right? So I start heating up my elevator stick. I'm like, nothing happened. So then I'm like, okay, all right. When I was a kid, my mom would take the thermometer and she'd put it under my armpit to heat it up. And so I'm thinking, if I could heat up my elevator stick with my own armpit juice, maybe that'll work, right? So now I'm getting the friction going. I hit the button, nothing happened. And then I did something I'm not too proud of. Can I be vulnerable with a crowd of thousands of people? I decided to sit on my elevator stick. So now I am sitting on my elevator stick and I'm heating it up with my 50 pounds of love, right? I'm grinding my elevator stick. Who's your daddy? No. So I pull it out, I hit the button. What do you think happened? Nothing. So I asked myself a question. What question did I ask myself? What's funny about this? The answer? Nothing. Nothing is funny about that. And then, as I'm grinding on this elevator stick, I look up and I see a little camera. And I start to laugh. And I'm thinking about the security guards that are watching this on the monitors. Oh my God. Oh dear Lord. We got to get this on YouTube, right? And I start laughing hysterically. And this is why we have to ask ourselves, what's funny about this? Because in your life, you're going to be challenged in so many different ways. You know, I've gone into schools after school shootings. I've gone into communities after it's been leveled by hurricanes. I've counseled individuals who lost their friends or children to suicide. I have dealt with some of the darkest pains. I've seen poverty in third world countries and held the children. I've gone through and seen firsthand that not all life is peachy. But do you know when I know that human beings are going to be okay? When I start to hear laughter again. You know, it feels so good to laugh. When you laugh, I'm going to get a little medical. Are you guys okay with me getting a little medical here? I'll be accepting my Nobel Prize later. When you laugh, you increase your T-cell count and you improve your immune system. When you laugh, you create anti-inflammatories in the body so you get out of pain. When you laugh, you exercise muscle groups that many of you need to be exercising. Laughter is so important. You need to be asking yourself, what's funny about this? How can I move through this? Because not only am I a professional speaker, for the past 17 years, I've been a professional therapist. And as a professional therapist, I got into the experience of professionally listening to people going through pain. And I can tell the moment they're willing to come out of the pain is when they are willing to laugh again, willing to see that life can be better, that they can be okay, and that they can have fun again. That's what you have to remind yourself of. So there I am, south lawn of the White House. The helicopter door swings open. The President of the United States steps out, and he looks at me, and he says, "Sean, good to see you, buddy." He walks towards me and he says, "Sean, would you like me to push you into the White House today?" Oh, Mr. President, that would be an honor. Now, what I didn't tell you earlier is that the entire time that I was on the South Lawn running away from those guards, my boss was in the top floor of the White House banging on the window going, "Sean, no!" And I said, "Mr. President, that's my boss." My boss went, "Sean, oh, hey, buddy, hey." And now the President of the United States is pushing me back towards the South Lawn entrance. And is, as if by magic, the South Lawn doors open, and I hear, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This experience, this time that you have, I want you to enjoy it. It has been a complete privilege and an honor spending this time with you. I love you. Thank you very much.